The Fujicast is an independent loading zone production.
Monday, 4th of May.
The Fujicast.
Welcome to the Fujicast, a daily photo show that was weekly, but during this lockdown stay-at-home period, it's daily until we're allowed, I don't know, Kev, back out at Starbucks or something, which seems a strange barometer, of course, for the return to freedom, but that was the first thing that came to mind.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go there because I've got a Costa loyalty card.
Well, you're allowed to go in Starbucks even if you have a Costa loyalty card.
Oh, no, I wouldn't get any points on my Costa card then, would I?
That's true. You don't have a Starbucks where you are. You're far too highbrow for a Starbucks, surely. Do you have a Costa in Malmesbury?
No. It's all independent stuff here.
No, but you do have a coffee bar there, don't you?
Yeah. We've got the Summer Cafe, we've got George's Cafe, we've got the Abbey Cafe.
Well, there we go then. But we ain't got no coffee. You sounded like that from... I don't know if you know that sketch. It sounded like Tumbleweed, so maybe not. Today is May the 4th. Did you see all that fuss last week, by the way, with Disney trying to somehow... Were they trying to trademark the May the 4th thing?
No, I did read that, actually, yeah. And so what they did was something like tweet using hashtag May the 4th be with you or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they sent another tweet after it saying, if you do that, then you are abided to our terms and conditions, and we can use your tweet for our blah 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 blah. And everybody's like, hang on, this like May the 4th tweet has been around a long time. You can't just suddenly arbitrarily go, we own that.
Yeah. Oh, so it wasn't. All right, okay. But it did seem a bit cheeky. You're right. We've had a few things go on around here the last 24 hours. Where the tempers are getting a little bit frayed around here. I don't know what they're like at your place, Kev, but earlier we had Paintbrush Gate. I was sat here editing quite comfortably and quietly, and the door flew open, and Sam came in and said, "Did you use the only paintbrush we've got?" I said, "Yeah." I was varnishing Thomas's. I made him a truck to go with a train, you see. And I was varnishing it, happily. Well, that's the only one we have. I'm doing the ceiling, and you've used it for something else. And I went to say, well, I'll go to being... And I thought, no, I can't, can I?
Well, you know the answer to that, don't you?
Well,
stop being good at everything and stop using things to do things like varnishing and stuff.
Oh, well, yeah. But and then she went storming off, and that was it for the next 2 hours. Silent treatment.
I have to say I'm taking Sam's side on this.
Well, I'm very excited, though, because we've got Jack. He went online and found the McDonald's recipe for the sauce that goes with an original Big Mac. So this afternoon, we're going to be doing Big Macs. How about that?
Where are you going to get all of the glutinous fat from?
Well, no, it's all goodness in our one. It's a big goodness Mac. Do you remember that McDonald's we went to when we were in Switzerland?
Yeah.
Do you remember? I mean, as a fast food joint went, how long did we wait in that McDonald's?
Oh yeah, but in fairness, they did have like 25 army guys who'd come in just before us, but it was very slow. Yeah.
The entire Swiss army, which is probably only 25 people, had actually descended upon that McDonald's, didn't they?
Well, that seems like years ago, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Oh, I'm so looking forward to being able to get out and about in situations like that. And some good news as well. I learned about this from Giles, a friend of the show, Giles, that Daniel Milner now has... Do you know Daniel Milner, the Blurb guy, photojournalist?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, I think you'd recognise him. He now has a YouTube channel. It's very, very early days. He's got a couple of thousand subs, and each of the films is getting like hundreds to about 1,000, which is the most I can manage with 3 times that amount of subs. He's a very popular guy, Daniel, and he was a photojournalist for 3 decades. But I mean, this guy, it looks like he's 25, but he's 50. I was looking at him thinking...
So what he set up 50? Blurb or something?
No. He Blurb seemed to use Daniel as an ambassador for I think, for their services. And he's a very, very good photojournalist, and he's just got a YouTube channel. And I was chatting to Giles. Giles has been a little bit disappointed of late that Ted Forbes... Because we talked about Ted Forbes. I don't know, you might agree with this. Ted Forbes, the art of photography, has gone a bit the kit of photography instead of the art of photography. Do you think so?
I noticed that, yeah.
I think you introduced me to Ted in the first place.
Yeah, it was... it used to be like investigative... creative art, kind of, dig deep into people's photography styles and stuff. And it does seem to be a lot more kind of somebody's given me a shiny new camera, so I need to talk about it on the internet.
Yeah.
What did you say his name was? Daniel Milner.
Daniel Milner. Yeah, Milnor, I think Milner. It just came up automatically for me, but I think that's Milner. He's a really good photojournalist, and his YouTube channel it's only got about a handful, maybe 6, 7, 8 films up there.
Shifter, is that the last video?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
very good.
Cool.
Yeah, watch it because he does these sort of thoughts to camera. Very, very early. It's all black and white, and I knew you'd like it because it's in black and white. And he talks about
another bloody good-looking bloke.
I know. Well, that's what I mean. He's 50. He's 50. Can you look at him? He's 50. I do not look like that, and I'm 50.
No, I'm not subscribing to that. No. Why can't people look like a bag of nails like us? Sorry, I mean me.
No, I realise I look like the back end of it. I'm just, But Daniel, check out his YouTube channel. You'll love it. You'll absolutely love it. Yeah. Right, questions. Graham and Zoe Smythe. Of all the years to turn pro, Kev and Neil, but here we are, wannabe school photographers. I'm a former teacher, and my wife is part-time. Have either of you done school photography before? I know you haven't, but have you got some advice first?
Well, my advice probably is speak to Neil.
Get drunk. Oh, God. I mean, I have done school photography, but it's a long time. I mean, it's going back maybe 12 to 15 years. There was a slight overlap when I started photographing weddings. We did. We went for the sort of private schools, younger schools that had all their students were called things like people like Tarquin, and so it gives you an idea of the kind of schools we were working in. It was blooming good money.
I mean, you're going to get in trouble for saying that.
Why?
I think what we should do, we've talked about this before. Yeah. So what we should do, I think, is you need to dig out some of your old school pictures.
Yeah. Well, I can't because there's a great legal issue to that, isn't there? Straight away.
Oh yeah. Can't we just blur their faces out?
Yeah, but then you'll just end up with kids wearing a uniform with a blurred face. I'm not sure you're going to learn much.
I was just going to put them on the website so people could see what you used to do. But yeah, you're right. We can't.
Yeah, no, I can't do. Yeah, no, can't do that. But the one thing that I would say is you just have to.
I hate modern life.
Yeah, you have to have a lot of patience, Graham and Zoe, because if you it depends. I don't know the age range you're dealing with, but if you're dealing with younger children, it was a case of if the first child sat down and screamed and cried. It didn't matter what Sam, who was fantastic with children, did. We had a little puppet, which we've still got, called Daisy, which is a puppet dog which woofed. This thing's really raggedy now, and it used to talk to the children, and it was a great prop. But if the first one cried, you were on for a hell of a day, because it never seemed to get better. But I would imagine, Kev, I would say school photography. If you've got a couple of schools you're working with, it's a good business to be in at the moment, isn't it?
Not at the moment.
Well, not right now. But when schools come back in, because they're going to be one of the first.
Oh no, I admire people who do it. I have to say, I really admire the people who kind of go and do school photography, and they do all seem to make reasonable living. And I think it's about you've got to nail yourself to a school and make sure that they don't go somewhere else or whatever. I don't know. I have no idea how that business works. Do the school get a cut of your earnings from the pictures, or is it just basically?
I mean that's generally the way that we work. Was they would get a percentage cut. I think it was 10 or 15%. These days you have to do a little bit more because some schools would like you to take the official picture that then goes for the school records as well. That's fine. There's software that can handle that kind of thing for you. That wasn't around when we were doing it. That's for sure. But most of the time, it's a lot of packaging up, contact sheets out to the parents, and they order. And actually, from my memory of it, it was, I don't know what the percentage was. I'm completely guessing, but I wouldn't be surprised if 80% plus of those contact sheets came back in with some form of order. It was good. And then digital, we started doing more digital. That worked really, really well. So yeah, I think it's not a bad business at all, and it depends what kind of photographer you want to be as well. And don't necessarily think that those were the. Do you like the pictures that Albs and Rosa bring home on the mottled blue backgrounds?
I do actually, because it's our kids. I do like them. There's nothing particularly creative about them, but they're technically good and they make me smile.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think that's nice, and I think that's what most people want, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think when you find a school that you can work with, we ended up doing school prospectus and stuff like that rolled out of that. So I tell you what, Graham, Zoe, it's good, honest money. It's not a bad business to be in at all. I know the schools are closed at the moment, but when they come back, they'll be one of the first online. Then I would imagine, notwithstanding, of course, people being a little bit more wary about the amount of money they spend, perhaps, it's probably a good genre to be in. So there we go. Where's .th, by the way?
Thailand.
Thailand. All right, this is from Jgrapher, Jgrapher.Thailand. With Fuji X mount cine lenses, it seems like they're still lacking a camera body to really use it to its intended purpose. Side tangent is the same criticism to the 200mm f2 lens. This leaves the room for the XH2. I think what he's going to do, what Jay's going to try and do here, is he wants to have our thoughts about XH2, which I know we've talked about before, and we can do a bit of tech today because it's tech free tomorrow. XH2, should it be built bigger? Let's say something like a Canon C200 that benefits from audio ports, or a Blackmagic 6K, or even a Panasonic S1H. Do you think there's room for an XH2 is what Jay's asking, first of all. I know you don't know about the product line on that, but what do you think?
Yeah, I have no idea. But what I'll say about the cine lenses is that the cine lenses that have been built for the X sensor, or the X cameras, are an offshoot of the cine lenses that Fujifilm use for, big budget studios.
Yeah.
So we're talking about like Netflix and Disney and all that. They rent these lenses are very, very, very expensive. So they just rent them from Fujifilm. So the cine lenses that have been built for the X-series are basically an offshoot of that, I suppose.
They're still very expensive.
Of course they're expensive.
Really nice lenses.
They're very, very specific lenses, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, I kind of agree in that, the XH line for me, it seems to be, and it's, it's personal preference. I don't like the ergonomics of it, but also I feel like it's lost in the lineup. It's, it came along as the camera that was at the time when it was launched was better for filming, and then very quickly it became the camera that wasn't better for filming because other cameras were released that had better sensors and better frames per second and all that kind of stuff, and people bought that camera for stills. And I do feel that Fujifilm have got such a great sensor, such good profiling. Their F-log system is amazing. They've now sorted out things like IBIS in smaller cameras. They've got the technology for film simulations. You've got all kinds of great filming capabilities in things like the X-T4. So I would be more than happy if they just said, right, XH2 is don't buy this if you're shooting stills. Might still take stills, but this is going to be a for filmmakers.
Yeah.
And I would love it for them to make it as big as it needs to be. Stick a couple of XLR ports in there.
Can you imagine that? That would be magic.
Yeah, absolutely. However, I think that the challenges I think we have here, and I'm only surmising this. I'm like Andreas at Fujifilm would be much better at explaining this to me, and I might be way off the mark. But the team that build the X series of cameras is very separate to the film team, if you like. The movie lenses, and I don't know what the remits are. I don't know what the crossover is. I don't know whether there's some kind of interaction between them in that respect. And so I don't know. It's really, really hard. If they make a camera that's very specific to filmmakers, it might only sell 5,000 units. Whereas if they make a camera that's marketed towards perhaps sports photographers, it might sell 25,000 units, 100,000 units, who knows? So it does come down to marketing. It's the same principle for the monochrome sensor. They could do it. I'm sure they could do it, but it wouldn't sell as much as we all know people who would raise their hands up and say, I want one, I'd buy one. I mean, God, I've told Fujifilm on several occasions I'd buy 10 if it helped, but it won't. But it doesn't. It costs a lot of money to do the R&D on these cameras and build them and develop them, and all of that stuff costs a lot of money, and they have to make them sell. And so making it too niche, it will not sell. However, that said, I have no idea what's going on. But I would, I agree with him. I think a film-specific one, stick a couple of XLR ports on there, really decent LCD.
Well, Jay also points out, what about stuffing some ND filters in there? Like the X100V's being able to do that. We haven't got it in an XT4. Put it in an XH2.
Yeah, I know that there are some cine cameras that do have ND filters.
They do. The C200, C300, C100, all the Canon cinema cameras, they have them. You can dial it in. I think, and again, it's something I remember reading a long time ago, so again, I might be off the mark here. The reason why we don't have things like ND filters in like XT range, X Pro range and everything is because they're interchangeable lenses, and so the sensor's exposed. Right. And the technology is not the same. It's not just a case of dropping a plate of glass in front of the sensor, which I expect that's exactly how Canon does it. Yeah,
exactly. So the technology isn't there for that, but that doesn't mean the technology isn't possible, and perhaps is something they're developing. Who knows?
Make the XH2 larger with those XLRs in the back, and then it doesn't matter if you've got a slightly larger body which you're dropping some mechanical NDs into.
No, exactly. But then it comes down to marketing, doesn't it? You have to market this as a filmmaking camera, and the fact is it probably won't sell because the XT4 is a very, very good filmmaking camera. And so people will be like, well, hang on, I want to take pictures as well, and I want it smaller. And you're going to find a very, very minority of people will, in the grand scheme of things, will want things like XLR and drop in ND filters and stuff for a premium price.
I want it. But you're absolutely right.
The Daily Show Photo Challenge.
All right. So the last week of doing these, because we ended doing the Daily Photo Challenge last week. But we still need to clear up those that we quite liked the look of. And so this time last week was Monday. What was it? What date was it this time last week? I have no idea. Was it December the 2000th?
Oh, this time last week was... it's the 3rd of May today, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it was No, it's not. It's the 4th of May today. May the 4th
be with you, yeah.
It was the 27th of April.
Oh, yes. I knew you were right.
It's hard work, this.
Yeah. So what did we get? What were we doing?
We did. I went old school and we picked numbers.
Oh yeah. Oh God. How could I forget?
Yeah. By this point, I'd lost the will to live. You see.
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning.
One job, Mullins. One job.
Wake up in the morning and I'd shake Gemma by the shoulders and say, Gemma, I need you.
Well, I'm sure you
don't. No, not now. And I'd be like, no, I need a theme. I need you to give me a theme quick because Neil's going to be shouting at me and I don't know what to do. We've done everything else.
Was this Gemma Mullins collection of ideas then last week?
Yeah.
I don't know, Mullins. Just choose one.
That was it. Yeah, she was just really. She went, just choose one. I went, perfect. That's a light bulb moment. One. Ta-da! There we go. So number one was the theme.
Yeah.
There was Simon Berry put up the Beatles album called One, which is nice.
Good.
I got that album too. Got that on vinyl. It's a lovely album. We had a couple of. Adrian Japp, for example, put up you know what this is. There's probably a technical term for it. A twizzle, I don't know. A dial on a radio with gain written underneath it.
Oh, I see. What volume knob?
No, it's next to volume on this picture. It says gain. Anyway, it's that one. Oh, so okay. Whatever that is. Dave Richards, my pen from school, 40 years ago, and it's a nice. Oh God, what do they call it? A proper ink pen. The nib of a proper ink pen.
A fountain.
Yeah, but the nib has got a name.
Was it?
The actual fountain element is a proper name for it. Oh. Anyway, it was one of them pointy, dangerous-looking things. Yeah. With the number one written next to it in beautiful ink.
Do you remember it used to be a treat to be able to use your fountain pen in school, wasn't it? It's fountain pen writing day. Oh, really, sir? No, you're spoiling us.
My handwriting was always atrocious. Still is. I just couldn't. I'm just terrible at it.
Did you not have the ink wells where you could flick the ink?
We did. Yeah, we did have ink wells. Yeah. However, the one I'm going to pick on a very personal scale is Michael Shillings.
Oh, why?
Because it's a picture of his daughter Elodie, and she's eating a cornetto, and for all intents and purposes, it has nothing to do with the number one. But I'm her godfather, so I'm picking that one.
Nepotism.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't care.
Well done, Michael. Right, caption competition this week. Every single day, we're going to put up the picture that we want you to lay the caption to on the Fujicast Facebook group. That's the place where you can put the caption. However, the following day, when we choose our favourites, you will see that image and the brand spanking new, very shiny, fantastic looking fujicast.co.uk, the new website that you've been working really hard on, Kev. So I did send it to you earlier. Did you see the one that I want you to put the caption to today?
I did.
So it's I'm going to describe this for you, and then I'm just going to let it go into the Facebook group because it's an image, and it's going to work much better if you get involved in there. It's essentially a man and a woman. She's got her glasses hanging half off, and they've made their way through a good bottle of Lindeman's there by the looks of it, and actually he's swigging his from a half-pint glass. And they look deep in conversation, or he looks deep in that car. I have no idea what he's saying, but it looks interesting.
Where did the picture come from? Who sent it in?
So it was sent in by what.i.c.photography, which is Mike, and he sent stuff to us before. So whaticphotography.net actually is the website, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that's a really good one, and that's going to go into the Facebook group. We'd like to invite your captions on there, please, and we'll talk about them tomorrow. And of course, we'll pop it on the Fujicast website very soon as well. Which, by the way, it just looks better and better, that website you made, Kev.
Good. I'm glad you like it. Worked hard at that.
Are you still going back, sort of gradually populating all the old shows? Because it's going to take forever, isn't it?
Yeah, I will. I'm basically, because it involves listening to them all again.
Yeah.
And I hate listening to myself. And I hate listening to you more. And as we're the only two people on it, it's hardcore.
You're getting gradually more and more belligerent towards me. Right, last question. John Miller. Current times we're in, I was sat in the house, boys, thinking where I could go photographically, and found myself looking round the room, really looking at things really differently. I love shooting black and white images. Oh, you got a companion in Kev there. And I like a lot of photographers who love black and white. Suffice to say, I picked up my street setup, the Lumix GX80 with an Olympus 17mm 1.8, and shot images of things just around me. I'm now doing it as a mini project and even set up an Instagram page. Can you look up this Instagram quickly? I think you'll like it. It's at 10_feet_from_me. So there's not really a question as such here, but I'm now doing it as a mini project. Set up the Instagram page for it. I think it could be a great idea for others who feel they're still stuck indoors for long periods of time, because I think a lot of people are going a bit obviously stir crazy. Now, not knowing how much longer this is going to go on. And initially we talked about projects. But this actually is, I thought this brought a new sort of spin to it, because everything has to be within 10 feet of him, which I thought was quite a good idea. Have you seen it?
Very clever. Yeah. Oh, very clever. I like the, this one isn't black and white, but I like the chili. Blimey, you must have some...
got constitution.
Yeah, wow. Red chilies, tin of American chilies, hot chili sauce, hot peri-peri sauce, even hotter peri-peri sauce, all on one shelf. Oof.
God, you must have a serious problem. Wow, look at all that chili. Yeah, it's a very nice idea, that. The teddy bears, cool. The Ilford XP2, isn't it? XP2 in the fridge. Yeah, great idea. Thought that was a really nice idea. So we'll give. It's not a lot of posts, a lot of followers, but that doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's a brand new project from John Miller, and I'd like you to go and check that one out.
It's a nice camera collection.
Ooh. See, this is what you were talking about the other day. You didn't keep all your cameras, did you?
Well, couldn't afford to keep them all, but no, it's nice. I wish I could.
That does look impressive. Right, what are you up to today then, Kevin? And I know you're in, but...
Yeah, nothing really. It's hard, isn't it? Plodding on, dig through.
I used to ask you this question. You'd say, oh, well, actually, funny you should mention that. I'm off to Amsterdam this weekend. I'm holding a conference there. Then a couple of days travelling across Holland, then across to France. But none of that now.
No, I know. It's the world we live in. I am going to watch. There was somebody sent me. Now, where was that link? Yes, that was it. So Jack Ladenburg, right. He sent me a link to a programme that was on BBC Two last night.
Ah, yes, Giles.
A Life on the Front Line.
Is that the Miller one?
Yes, Lee Miller.
Yeah, Lee Miller, yeah.
So that was on 10:30 p.m. on BBC Two.
On Sunday, it was Sunday night. Saturday night.
Sorry, it was 2 nights ago. Yeah, Saturday night.
Was it Friday night? Saturday? Where do all these days go?
It was on Saturday night. I said to Gemma, shall we watch it? And she said, I'm going to bed. I said, shall we not watch it? She said, I'll stay up. So we didn't watch it. However, I might watch that this evening. Yeah, it's bound to be on Play Again or whatever they call it these days.
Yeah.
Lee Miller, A Life on the Front Line, 10:30 p.m, BBC Two, Saturday night. I sound like, could I be one of those?
You could do. You've just got to you've got to sound a little bit more excited. If you want to be a continuity announcer. I mean, there's the guy that has all that sing-song. This is tonight on BBC One. And
I laughed at. They don't really do them anymore, do they? But they do still do it on Dave. You know, Dave the channel, and it's usually a bit humorous. And we were watching Not Going Out. Funny enough, we watched about 8 episodes.
Oh,
of that.
I love that show. Yeah, that's gentle humour. I love it.
Lee Mack,
yes,
very funny.
Good. Yeah.
And the guy on Dave, he just before it started, he said, "Here's how to pretend you're still in the pub. Go to the fridge, get a beer, then throw £5 in the bin."
See, no, that's great. Not many continuity announcers, and I know this through having done a little bit of Granada many moons ago. You weren't allowed to have personality. You had to just talk about the show coming up. And often I was a terrible announcer because you would wait, especially on Saturdays and Sundays when I did my shifts. You would wait an earth just to say like 5 to 10 seconds between the Coronation Street omnibus and something else. And invariably you'd it up. You'd wait an hour and a half watching an old spaghetti western. It would come to your turn and you'd be tongue-tied. And often they had a little auto cue machine there which you worked with your with a foot pedal. And I got so excited, I used to press down on it was like an accelerator on the foot pedal, and all the words would go, zoop, they were gone. I was thinking, what do I say now? Because it was in vision. So Dave actually has one with a personality, do they?
Well, this guy did, yeah. I thought it was very funny.
Brilliant. Well, enjoy that show, and see you tomorrow, Kev.
Bye-bye.
The Fujicast is an independent loading zone production.
Goodbye, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. We're back tomorrow with another show. Well, unless we're fired, we'll talk to you then. Goodbye, sweetheart. Goodbye. Goodbye.